Hello, this is TJR, and I want to thank you very much for stopping by. The idea for today's video has been rolling around in my brain literally for years now. And I want to thank patron supporter King Lei Tan, hopefully I've said your name correctly, for suggesting a video dealing with songs that have very clever lyrics. Your suggestion brought this idea back to the forefront of my brain. Today I'm going to talk about what I think is one of the most underrated songs in Queen's catalog. And that song is 39. But before we begin here, if you want to see more videos like this, please click like so the YouTube algorithm recognizes me. "39" was released by Queen on their 1975 album, A Night at the Opera. The song was written by guitarist Brian May, who also sang the lead vocals. It bears noting that Freddie Mercury wasn't the only lead singer in Queen. Night at the Opera is best known for the hit singles You're My Best Friend and Bohemian Rhapsody. And 39 remains an incredibly underrated gem off the album. A Night at the Opera was one of the first albums that I bought as a teenager. And back in the 70s, this song would have been classified under the heading of folk rock, a popular genre of the time. Its rhythms and chord structures are deeply rooted in the genres of folk, Americana, and country music. Now, I don't know if the use of the folk rock genre was a deliberate decision on the part of the author, or just a matter of simple coincidence. But if it was a deliberate choice, it was a very smart one, as it helped to create a wonderful juxtaposition to the song's lyrics. This particular choice of genre acts as a kind of musical disguise and helps to keep the true meaning of the song's lyrical context a bit more mysterious to the listener. So when you finally figure out what the song is about, its meaning will hit you that much harder. But as a young 13-year-old teenager, the true nature of 39's lyrical meaning slipped past me back then. In the year of 39, assembled here the volunteers, in the days when the lands were few. Here the ship sailed out into the blue and sunny morn, the sweetest sight ever seen. The song is entitled 39, and back in 1975, the closest year to 39 was 1939. Certainly not an uncommon year for large groups of individuals to migrate to a new land on a ship sailing out to sea. American history is filled with stories of immigrants sailing across the oceans, coming to America in search of a better life. Of course, being American, I'm naturally going to think along those lines. But this song could be referring to 1839 just as easily, and some other country just as well. Of course, it wasn't referring to either year, but the song's warm acoustic textures and its pastoral lyrics convinced me that the song was referring to a long ago past. The lyrics continue, "And the night followed day, and the storytellers say that the score brave souls inside, for many lonely days sailed across the milky seas, never looked back, never feared, never cried." The word milky seas was the first clue that all is not lyrically as it might have seemed. But back in 1975, it was a clue that I would completely miss. This brings us to the song's chorus. "Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away? Don't you hear me calling you? Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand in the land that our grandchildren knew." As a young teenager, I remember being very puzzled by this last line, "in the land that our grandchildren knew." Are these travelers returning home to a land that they had migrated from many generations in the past? And I mistook the line, "though you're many years away," to mean that their ocean voyage lasted many years. This brings us to the next verse. "In the year of 39 came a ship in from the blue. The volunteers came home that day, and they bring good news of a world so newly born, though their hearts so heavily weigh." And it's at this point that Brian May's lyrics give us the song's final reveal. And let me tell you, it's a whopper. "For the earth is old and gray, little darling will away, but my love this cannot be. Oh, so many years have gone, though I'm older but a year. Your mother's eyes, from your eyes, cry to me." These lyrics are followed by the repeat of the chorus. Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away? Don't you hear me calling you? Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand in the land that our grandchildren knew. That chorus repeats one more time, but with an altered lyric. Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away? Don't you hear me calling you? All your letters in the sand cannot heal me like your hand. For my life, still ahead, pity me. By this time, the song's real meaning, its real story, is clear. The title, 39, does not refer to a time in the past, although I think it was the author's intent to fool you from the beginning in thinking that it does. Instead, it refers to a time in the future. These are not ocean travelers. These are space travelers. From the space traveler's perspective, they have only been gone for 1 year. But because of the time dilation effect of Einstein's special theory of relativity, decades have passed on Earth. The line, "Your mother's eyes from your eyes cry to me," implies that the space traveler is now looking at his daughter, no longer a child, but instead an adult woman. And perhaps as an adult woman, many years and perhaps even many decades older than him now. And through her eyes, he can see her mother's eyes, the eyes of his wife, who perhaps is now deceased, as are probably the loved ones of many of the other space travelers, referred to as the volunteers in the song. Now you might be saying to yourself, Einstein's special theory of relativity in a rock song? But it bears mentioning that Brian May had been working on his thesis in astrophysics before abandoning it in order to pursue his career with Queen. In 2006, he resumed his studies and completed his thesis, titled A Survey of Radial Velocities in the Zodiacal Dust Cloud, and received his PhD. Pretty heady stuff for a rock band, but it's also part of what set Queen ahead of most of the 70s rock crowd. The song, 39, plays a wonderful game of musical and lyrical deception with the listener. The use of a folk music setting and the opening line, "in the year of 39, made me more inclined to believe that 39 referred to a distant past versus the far future. Also, the use of phrases like, "and the storytellers say," and "the ship sailed out into the blue and sunny morn," also strive to incline the listener to believe that the song is set in a distant past versus a distant future. Now, you could possibly argue that the line, "the ship sailing out into the blue and sunny morn," is something that a sailing ship can be described as doing, but not a rocket ship. It's true that rockets and other interstellar craft don't have sails, but this is just poetic license. How many times have you heard Captain Kirk romantically refer to the Enterprise like it was a great sea vessel of old? In 39, Brian May makes all the right musical and lyrical choices to subtly misdirect the listener until he's finally ready to release the big reveal at the end. As a young teenager, the song's closing lines slipped past me, and it wouldn't be until many years later, as a young adult, that the song's true meaning would become clear. I was having a conversation with a fellow musician about the band Queen, and my friend and fellow bandmate brought the song up. The lyrics to 39 are filled with pathos, irony, and tragedy. The song is deeply romantic in both its portrayal of voyagers traveling to distant worlds and in describing the price they paid in order to do so. It is a mini epic portraying a lifetime, all contained within a pop song lasting 3 minutes and 31 seconds. And it is one of the most underrated songs in Queen's catalog. This is TJR. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to show some support, please consider becoming a patron supporter. Patron supporters receive early access to selected videos and also receive exclusive content available nowhere else. If you can't be a patron supporter, that's fine. You can show your support by just clicking like. I would encourage you to click subscribe and also hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye. 39 assembled here, the volunteers, in the days when the lands were few. Here the ship sailed